We'll get started now, and if you see me looking down, that's in order to see your faces. Your faces are on my lower screen and my notes are up on the high screen. So anyway, welcome to all of you. It's wonderful to have you join us at OISE. My name is Julie Kedekesh, and in a moment I will introduce some of my colleagues. This session is for those of you who are enrolled in or considering enrolling in the Master of Education, which has two options, the Master of Education Regular and then Master of Education Field and Language Teaching, both of which I will describe in just a moment. We've just done introductions and we'll continue that in a moment. And then the rest of today's presentation will cover a bit of course enrollment, program requirements, course loads, course options, and hopefully the majority of the time will be available for you to ask questions and us to provide some answers. So as I mentioned, my name is Julie. I coordinate the Language and Literacies Education program, and my colleague Antoinette is taking over the coordinatorship right after me. And I'm going to ask, let's see, Antoinette, Wendy, and Michelle and Maume, I think are all here. If you guys could each quickly introduce yourselves to the group, that would be great.
Yeah, I met some of you in the previous session. I'm also the associate chair for student experience, and we met a little earlier, but I've been in language and literacies education for many decades, and I'm very excited about the breadth and depth of our field and look forward to working with you next year. Wendy, have you joined us yet?
Yep, yes.
Hi, I'm glad to see everyone here today. My name is Wendy Tan. I'm the new LLE program assistant. So you can reach out to me for any program related questions, or sometimes if you just want to chat in general, and my office door is always going to be open for you. So I'm hoping to see all of you in the fall.
And Michelle?
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Pan, Graduate Liaison Officer in Department of Curriculum Teaching and Learning. You may come and see me if you're thinking about awards applications as students, if you're thinking about some employment opportunities, if you just have questions, my door is also open as well. My office is on the 11th floor, so I'm one floor above Wendy on the opposite end of the building. So you get a little bit of a tour, but I'm always happy to see you. I'll pass it to Maume.
Unmute, Maume.
Thank you. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Maume Liao. I'm currently I'm going into my second year of MEd journey in language and literacy education. I remember a year ago, literally this time, I was just like you, a newly admitted student who excitedly entering this breakout session and stay till late night in China, and how time flies. And after a year of adapting my life in Canada and also dedicated study my language and literacy education, I'm so privileged to being here. And if you have any questions related to student life, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Maume.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'd like to now move on to tell you a little bit about the programs that we have. All of you should be interested in the Master of Education, and there are two options. One is called the regular program and the other is called the field in, Michelle, I'm so sorry, this is a typo. I thought it should be the field in teaching, language teaching and learning.
You are correct.
Okay, I hope I didn't open the wrong slide yet because I had corrected this before. But anyway, be that as it may, this should say the field in teaching, language teaching and learning. Those of you, so everyone who applied would qualify for only one of those programs. The regular program, Master of Education, is for experienced teachers, and the field in language teaching and learning it's called Language Teaching Field, LTF. The Language Teaching Field is for novice language educators getting started in their career. And so it could be that you applied for one and your application was redirected to the other. If the admissions committee read your application and saw that you were an appropriate applicant for the other program, either because you didn't have enough teaching experience to be in the regular program or because you had too much teaching experience to be in the LTF, language teaching field. In any case, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how they are similar and how they are different now. And just so that you understand, you're in one or the other, and you only qualify for one or the other. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you that in addition to being in one of these degree programs, the MEd or the LTF field, some of you will choose to be parts of collaborative specializations. Collaborative specializations are interdisciplinary programs that you have opportunities to join and take a few extra classes if you want to get a collaborative specialization as part of your degree program. And I'm going to admit someone who's trying to get in.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I'll do that, Julie.
Let me come back to this in a minute. So I'm so sorry. I changed the order of my slides and I think I may have opened up the wrong one. So the collaborative programs are right here. And some of the opportunities you have to take to take courses in these interdisciplinary programs include the ones listed here: comparative international development, Francophone education, educational policy, ethnic and pluralism studies, knowledge media design, sexual diversity studies, and women and gender studies. If you're interested in any of those collaborative programs, then you would follow up by looking for the websites for these programs on OISE's website and following up to find out what their requirements are. These are optional, not required, but we find that many of the students in the MEd program are interested in getting one of these specializations in addition to their LLE, Masters of Education. Going back, you have also received a CTL Student Handbook, which includes a lot of important information. Please hold on to it as an excellent resource, which includes a calendar, which will tell you, for example, that course enrollment begins on July 13th at 6 a.m. Eastern date, I believe, daylight.
Toronto time.
Yeah, Toronto time. It should be EDT, I think. And the course schedule will be available for viewing on July 6th. So a few weeks from now, you can see what courses are available and start thinking about what you'd like to sign up for. You also will have been assigned to an advisor, and I strongly encourage you to reach out to your advisor to review with them what courses you think you'd like to take and get a little bit of feedback from them. That being said, I will go over the course requirements in a moment. Anyway, there's a lot of important information in your student handbook. And one thing to keep in mind is that before you can sign up for courses, you have to activate your UTOR ID, which is something you can do after you have enrolled, registered, and paid your tuition. So the requirements, regardless of whether you're in the regular MEd or the LTF, which is a language teaching field, are to take 10 half courses. A half course is a semester-long course. We usually refer to them just as courses because all of the courses we offer are just one semester long. So you need to take 10 of those, 10 semester-long courses, and you need to complete all of your requirements within 6 years of, 3 years, I believe, for full-time and 6 years for part-time students. Some of you are going to be enrolled in the part-time MEd and some in the full-time MEd. Regardless of which one, you are required to take 5 of these semester-long courses in LLE, and you will know if they're an LLE course by the number. So if the number code is 3000 level or 5300 to 5699, those are LLE courses. The other 5 courses that you take can be electives. They can be additional LLE courses, or they can be courses from any of the other departments, programs at OISE. You may even end up wanting to take a course outside of OISE, which is possible, though it will require a letter of permission to do so that your advisor would help you with. I'm just going to stop here and ask if there are any questions yet. Okay, I'm going to continue, and of course, there will be lots of time for questions at the end. So the language teaching field has the same requirement of 5 LLE courses and 5 electives, but it's a little bit more specific. Of those 5 LLE courses, you must take the ones listed on the left of this slide: second language teaching methodologies, second language learning, and a practicum in language and literacies education. And these, the first 2, second language teaching methodologies and second language learning, those are also available to anyone in the MEd program. The practicum in language and literacies education is only for the language teaching field students because it's specifically for completely novice teachers. And so in addition to those 3 required courses in the LTF program, you would choose 2 others from this list in the middle, which are some of the core courses that we offer that are related to second language education. And in addition to that, 5 electives. And just as with the regular MEd, those 5 electives can be selected from the LLE offerings or from other offerings in our department in curriculum teaching and learning, or for the courses that you might take for your collaborative specialization courses in other departments or graduate units. Full-time students take a maximum of 6 courses for fall and winter. For example, 3 in the fall, 3 in the winter, and they need to take a minimum of 2 courses per term. 3 classes per term is typical, though it's quite a heavy load. So if you are new to graduate studies, particularly if you're new to graduate studies in a language you haven't been learning in before, you might consider starting with a load of 2 courses. And if that goes well and you find it's not too much work, then doing 3 courses the next semester. You may also take a maximum of 2 courses per summer session. We have 2 sessions in the summer. The first one is May and June, and it's called intersession. I don't know why it's not called spring, but it's called intersession. And the second one is in July and August, and it is called summer. And the courses that are offered then are twice as fast and twice as much work in the amount of time that you have. So instead of 12 weeks in fall and 12 weeks in winter, it's a 6-week course that meets 6 hours per week instead of 3 hours per week. So it's very intense, and taking 2 such courses in one session in the summer, in intersession or summer, is really, really hard and not recommended, but it has been done. This note about waitlisted courses being included in your maximum course load, what that means is when you sign up for courses, when registration begins, some classes might be full already, and you may have to go on the wait list. If your name goes on the wait list, that still counts as one of your 3 maximum number of courses you can sign up for. So let's say you are on the wait list for 1 course and you got into 2 courses. You can't sign up for a 4th course unless you take your name off the wait list for the course that you are waitlisted on. Another really important thing to know about these wait lists is that on a particular date, the wait list will close and course rosters will be finalized, and you will no longer be on the wait list. So if you're still trying to get into a course and the wait list has disappeared, you should contact the professor who's teaching that course and ask them to put you on their own wait list, because usually on the first day of class, there is still movement. Some people don't show up who were planning to take the course, And you can often get into a course even if the official ACORN waitlist was discontinued. Part-time students take one course per session. And I'm going to ask Michelle to clarify this. They can take one in the fall, one in the winter, and can they take only one between intersession and summer, or can they take one each of those terms?
One during the whole summer session.
Okay, so one either in intersession or in the July-August session. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
All right. So that's a little bit about the course load. So you can see that if you're a full-time student, it will most likely take between a year and a half to complete your coursework. Part-time students will, of course, take longer. Okay, so when you're thinking about courses that you want to take, think about what your future plans are and what you want to learn about. And I also, as I mentioned, strongly recommend that you connect with your advisor to discuss your background, your future plans, and what courses would be most appropriate. The top one listed here, Academic English for Language and Literacies Educators, the code is 3039, CTL 3039, and it is required of many of our incoming students, but even if it's not required, I would strongly ask you to consider taking that course if you have not previously studied, done university or graduate studies in English. This is a course on academic discourse as well as research methods and second language acquisition, but it's really geared for those students who are still acquiring academic discourse and English is not their dominant language. In addition to these, you'll see some of the kinds of courses we offer include literacy courses on both for children and adult literacy, critical pedagogy, number of courses on second language teaching and learning, language awareness for language educators, foundations of bilingualism, multilingualism, plurilingualism, sociolinguistics, second language writing, and much more. So again, I encourage you to read the descriptions of the courses and then get an idea of what you think you'd like to sign up for and connect with your advisor. I mentioned the collaborative specializations already. And the next thing I'd like to mention is funding and employment opportunities. The MEd is what we call an unfunded program. In order to enroll in the MEd, whether it's the regular MEd or the LTF, language teaching field, you have to pay tuition. There are some opportunities to try to get funding. These include research assistantships, which are available to part-time and full-time students. The research assistantships are connected to professors' research projects, which are externally funded. So if you meet a professor who is working on a project, a research project that you're really interested in joining, talk with the professor and find out whether the professor will be advertising or looking for any research assistants, and then you can apply for one. There are graduate assistantships which are funded by the university, and those only full-time MEd students and not part-time MEd students have an opportunity to apply for in July. And these are also often related to professors' research projects, but sometimes they're not research, but more having to do with curriculum or administration, for example, planning a conference or that kind of thing. There are scholarships, and Michelle Pan is fantastic about keeping us all aware of what scholarships are out there, when the deadlines are, and she will be sending us regular emails about scholarships. So if you're interested in applying for a scholarship, be sure to read the emails that Michelle sends us. And finally, there are work study positions, and I don't know, that's not something I can speak to in terms of how you find out whether you're qualified. Do you know, Michelle?
Actually, I think Antoinette has had experience with them.
Oh, okay. Antoinette, could you speak to that, please?
Yes, absolutely. On the University of Toronto careers website, and I can put a link in for those who might be interested into the chat. You can visit the work study page and find out whether or not you are eligible. These are jobs that you can apply for that are located across the university and span many different disciplines and possibilities. We always have some that are directly linked to education in OISE, but you can apply to other positions as well if you're interested. So I'll go and find that. Typically, it's an opportunity that is available to you to see with job listings as of late August, and the application date lasts timing spans several weeks, so you don't necessarily have to be applying immediately because that's something that happens later. So I'll go and find that for you and pop it into the chat.
Thank you.
Just want to add from my personal experience, I was a work study student when I was studying undergrad at U of T. So I really love the program. It offers paid and there's on-campus position like what we mentioned. And it's really a great opportunity for every one of us to deepen your knowledge and also to explore how your academic studies can translate into career possibilities, especially in U of T, to familiarize yourself with the university system. So I think this is really a great program for everyone to try.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy and Antoinette. So now I just want to talk with you about your resources. Wendy, who just spoke with you, is going to be a very important resource for you as she is the program assistant and will be able to answer many of your questions, but many of your administrative questions. In addition, Terry Louise and Michelle Pon. Michelle, you've just met, and Terry is over at the other breakout room right now, but these are people who will be able to help you. Terry helps with helping you progress through in terms of submitting necessary paperwork towards graduation. And Michelle, as you now know, helps a lot with admissions and awards. In addition, there is a wonderful website which has a lot of information for you. It's this one, and these slides will be made available to you later, so I don't think you need to scribble this down. But there are also questions you will have about admissions, registration, tuition. Those can be answered in the Rose office. The email address is here. And also you can address admissions questions to the CTL Admissions Committee, for which the email address is also posted here. So I think at this point, it's time for you to ask any questions that you'd like to ask. Just before that, I'd just like to try to explain one thing, which is that in terms of the questions that you have, there will be questions about your academics, about courses, about program planning, about what you want to do in the future with your degree. And those are the kinds of questions that your advisor or like today, the professors at this Zoom meeting will be able to help you with. If you have administrative questions about paying tuition, about registering, being blocked from taking a course or something like that, those are questions for either the registrar's office or Terry and Wendy, and sometimes Michelle. And you will find that professors are not very good with answering questions about money and registering. So with that being said, please and Antoinette is just sharing something. So Antoinette, do you want to share that? And
yeah,
then
I just wanted to, I shared the link in the chat, but those who are interested in the work study program, this is the page, and there's a video that explains a little bit how it works, and there's a link to program eligibility. But as was already mentioned, this is for full-time students, graduate or undergraduate. And you can unmute yourself with or without your video and ask us questions, or if you prefer, you can write them in the chat. It's up to you.
I have a question about the recording of this meeting, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know if I need to go back and watch it, where I can find it.
Michelle?
We will send a link out as soon as it's available, and we will also send the handbook out again with it.
Got it. Thank you very much, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Is that you, Astia?
Astrid?
Oh, so I worked with, in fact, a student who has your name, but she went by Astia. So I was just wondering if that was you, but
oh no,
it's not. All right.
It's not.
Well,
That's a very rare name. It's interesting.
It is a rare name. The student, in fact, was in her final year at Victoria College within the University of Toronto doing an internship in research, and supported me with a research study looking at the education of students of refugee background. So she herself had that experience. So it was a good match. But that's an example of, you know, how somebody came to me because of they found out that I was doing this research and there was a good match and so on.
Interesting.
In the chat box, Amy Kim just asked, can I ask why the course are called half courses? Are we supposed to take the other half later on? That's a good question.
That's an excellent question. And I've been asked, I also had to ask that question when I arrived at OISE. So there are courses, particularly undergraduate courses in the rest of University of Toronto, which are year-long courses. And you get credit for so you have to take 2 semesters in a row, beginning in fall and continuing in winter. And it's a full year course. And because many of the courses are full year courses, they start referring to other courses that are only 1 semester long as half courses or half courses. But in OISE, that's all we have. We only have half courses. So
well, I mean, within this program.
Okay, sorry, you're right. In LLE, we only have half courses. And so we're a little bit sloppy and we often refer to them as courses. But there is no second half.
Thank you.
Good morning to all. I have a question. Yeah, so please excuse me if my question is very stupid. Where can I get my student book online? I don't know the link.
Oh, the student handbook was sent to you out very late last night by Michelle, but it will be posted. Michelle, would you like to put in the information? We have a curriculum teaching and learning website for the department, and that's where we post our handbook. We did send you the best draft that we had at this moment, but we have new faculty starting. So we're waiting to get their office numbers and coordinates to put in the handbook before we post a final version online. But Michelle, am I correct that you sent out the handbook yesterday? At least this draft, the best draft we have.
Yes, so this handbook I sent out probably about 12 hours ago to the email address that you used to register for this event. But afterwards, I'll send it again to the email address that you used on your online application, or if you've already changed it to your UToronto email account, I might email it there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from Xiaoyue Chen.
Yes, that's me. Can I ask? I don't know really how to choose the courses I'm going to take. So can I? You just mentioned that I can talk to my advisor about which courses should I choose. So can I book one-on-one video appointment with my advisor?
Yes. So you can send an email to your advisor and say, could I please have a meeting with you to discuss my course choices? Absolutely.
Okay.
And Michelle, no, maybe it's Wendy. Wendy, will you be sending out, wait, is Wendy here right now? I'm not, oh yeah. Wendy, if you can send out the list of advisees and their advisors to me or to all faculty, that would be great. That way we can direct them. Like if I, as a coordinator, receive a question, if Xiao Yue says, I can't remember who my advisor is, could you please connect me with them? Then I can do that if I have that list.
I wanted to add though that the Curriculum Teaching and Learning Handbook that you're seeing on the screen is a really good place to just start, because it has information about each one of the programs. So one of the things that all students really need to be aware of is what is mandatory in their program. And you want to really understand what's listed here on page 9 and look at some of the course descriptions as a way to prepare for a conversation with your advisor. In fact, sorry, you may want to, for example, not only look at the handbook to learn what's mandatory, but then you want to, on July 6th, when all the courses are listed, you can click on a hot link to get a description of each of the courses offered. Look at those, and what I encourage my advisees to do is to try to schedule the mandatory courses, and then to make a list of the things that they find exciting that they might like to register for. And then when we get together, there's something concrete to talk about, because I know, oh, you're really interested, let's say, in writing or online learning, and you've maybe selected a few, and I can help you determine which ones from that list might be the best ones for you at this particular time as you're beginning the program. Because we have some courses that are open to everybody, and then we have some courses that are more advanced, and you can register, but if I knew that you were interested, I might say, let's wait till the summer next year before you take that one, because it would really be helpful for you to do some of the other things before. Okay?
Yes, that's very helpful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
Maybe while people are thinking about their questions, one of the things I can say is also that you want to look really carefully at the modality for the course. So as I mentioned in the introduction at 9:30, some of the courses will be face-to-face, and there will be a room assigned to those particular courses. And of course, you would be expected to come to those on a weekly basis in person. Then there are courses that are called synchronous online courses. And if it says that that course is available at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays, although you don't actually have to be in the building, you could come to the building if you wanted to and be in the library, but you could be joining from your home, but you would be expected to join at that time. So to be available online synchronously with all your peers, like we are now, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, let's say on Wednesday. So that's what we call synchronous, which means real-time learning that is done online. And as I said, you can join from the building or where you live. Then asynchronous means that you'll be learning in a very individualized way, from the point of view that you'll have work that is expected of you every week, and you have to manage when you're doing that. But you can do it in the middle of the night if you like. If you're a night owl, you can join the online platform for learning 1 hour every night of the week. Or if you're somebody who maybe is very busy with a job full-time and children, you might have a block of time that you reserve, but that is very much up to you, and it demands some discipline so that you don't fall behind in the work required. So look carefully and know yourself in terms of what's going to be the best kind of course for you. I see some stuff in the chat. Do we have any more questions?
It says, so we are going to find out which courses are synchronous and asynchronous on July 6th.
That's right. So when you go online on the 6th, it will be clearly indicated if this is an in-person course or synchronous or asynchronous, so that you know when you're registering what kind of course you're registering for. Michelle, do you want to add any information about that?
No, it will be online on
Okay.
July 6th. Yeah.
So there's also a question, are we supposed to finish the program within 1 or 1.5 years? Full-time students will finish their coursework within 1.5 years unless you take a leave or for some reason slow down. But since you're required to take at least 2 courses per term, I guess it could be as much as 2 years. You are required to complete all your coursework within 3 years maximum. But most
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen here so that you can see. Are you seeing my screen, everyone? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So this diagram shows you the pathway. And as Julie's just mentioned, you can finish within 1.5 years. That's the minimum time that we expect you to be studying for. A lot of students like to spread their courses, their 10 courses, over 2 years, and that's very, very common. And it is possible to have a 3rd year to complete. I mean, we are all adults and we have complex lives and things happen. So sometimes we may need some extra time, but most people would take 1.5 to 2 years as a full-time. And I'm going to share the screen for those who might be interested in seeing what part-time study looks like. Whoops, am I sharing the right one now? Yes. So part-time means that you can only take 1 course at a time. So if you have 10 courses and you can only move 1 at a time, it will, of course, take you longer. And students may take as little as 3 years, but you have up to 6. So many of our part-time students are actually working full-time as teachers or educators in different environments. And sometimes they get so busy with their employment that they're not able to take a course necessarily, let's say in the summer or one of the semesters. So it's a very personal journey, and people schedule and make choices accordingly. And we recognize that you are adult learners, and there's no judgment made as to the time that it takes for you to complete. We also understand that for some of you, there may be a lot of demands of family, and for others, you may be studying in a new cultural and linguistic environment. And so truly think about this as being your journey. This is for your growth. And we want to support you in making this the best possible journey for you. Okay?
Yes.
Thanks, Antoinette. We've got some questions here. One is, what is the minimum amount of courses for full-time students? It's 2 in the fall and 2 in the winter. And I do not believe you're required to take any in the intersession in the summer. And then there's another question. How is academic performance evaluated in most of the courses in our department, and what should we do to get a high GPA? So academic performance is usually a combination of assessment of your assignments in class, and a small portion of your grade in many classes is an assessment of your participation. When you receive your course outline or your course syllabus, it should have a description of the assignments and what you are required to do to fulfill those requirements successfully. So the assignments are usually a combination of written assignments, for example, writing an essay, a literature review, creating a curriculum document, a lesson plan, things like that, an analysis of some data or an analysis of some observations, as well as multimedia presentations and or oral presentations. And those will be assessed for their content as well as how well they are presented. And you will probably receive a rubric, or at least an informal description of the criteria that the professor is looking for to grade those. Same with participation. Like in my courses, I usually tell my students that active participation involves active listening and responding. Some students are not comfortable speaking out in front of the whole class, and that's not necessary for active participation. There are other ways to actively participate. For example, sharing some thoughts online asynchronously. All of the courses have an online platform as well. Whether the courses are synchronous or asynchronous or in person, there will be opportunities for you to share your thoughts and ask questions online as well as offline. So is that an adequate answer to the person who?
I think it's great. I think Maomei wanted to add something. Go ahead, Maomei.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie, for this really comprehensive answer. And from the student perspective, I can also say something, I think. And as a student who is much satisfied with my academic performance, well, my experience is that I actually don't worry too much about my grade at OIZ here, because the professors here are really nice, right, Antoinette? I chose one course of Antoinette last semester, and I actively participate in the course. I finish all the assignment on time, and I got the A. That's it.
Well, you're a smart student. It didn't just magically appear. You worked hard. And you were very carefully following all of the requirements. But yes, I think when you engage with your peers and with the course content and with your instructor, you will find that you can be very successful. And I would like to note that we have a couple of courses that rather than having a letter grade, they have what we call credit, no credit. So I believe the Practicum course, Julie, for those who are taking the language teaching field is a credit, no credit. So we're not giving you a grade for that, but it's based on the completion and the successful completion of the requirements of the Practicum.
Yes, and thank you, Antoinette. And I can totally understand maybe some of you, including me, we are so traumatized in undergrad experience about our GPA, because that is the mandatory to enter the grad school. But since like we are all graduate students now, so I think I strongly recommend you pay more attention on yourself, your true calling. What are you really searching for and looking for the whole rest of career life? Are you real? I strongly suggest you to like choose the course that you're really interested in. You really want to learn in YZ. And if you are interested in that field, if you have passion about what you're going to learn and what you're going to do the assignment, well, you will definitely pay more attention when you do that work, and you will definitely, it's naturally you will participate more in the classroom, and then naturally professor will notice you, and then naturally you'll get a good grade. And even this might be the entry of your future, even PhD career. That could be possible. So pay more attention on yourself, what you really want, instead of a requirement or a standard that the social want you to become, the society want you to become. And yeah, this is from my personal experience. And as for how to like technically get good grade, I would say rule number 1, consult your syllabus. And after that, well, you'll learn. You will ask less questions and you'll learn what to do. Consult your syllabus. Yes.
Yes, you'll see once you start taking courses that we have very, very detailed course outlines. This is a requirement of the university. So all of the information about what we want you to learn, what the assignments are, what the desired outcomes, all of those are listed in detail, as well as links to all the policies if you have questions. So they are, in fact, good documents to really dive in deeply to. I know that they're not the most exciting things to look at when you're starting the course, but as Maome said, it's a great reference point because it reminds you of the due dates and the readings and so on.
Yes.
Could I just like to speak to a couple of things on the chat, and then I'll call on you, Xiao Yu, right after that.
Okay.
It's when, again, depending on your background, it is recommended that you try to take some of the core courses at the beginning if you're in the LTF, in the language teaching foundations, but if it's not possible, that's okay. And one of the required courses, the one that Antoinette just described, the Practicum, you cannot take until after you've completed a couple of semesters in the program. The tuition does change depending on the duration of the program. The tuition, again, and I think this might be something that Michelle can speak to more, but the tuition you pay per semester. So if you complete your studies in 1.5 years, then you don't pay as much as if you complete your studies in 2 years. But one thing that's not clear to me is where the summers fall into the tuition. Michelle, can you speak to that, please?
Sure. So if you are registered for fall and winter sessions and you pay your fees, the summer, you're actually exempt from summer fees. So whatever courses you take in the summertime, you don't have to pay extra tuition. It was all covered in your fall winter fee. until the next fall session. And Julie's correct. Like when you see your tuition will be invoiced to you in Acorn sometime in July, and it'll show the full year of your tuition, but it will say minimum balance to register. That minimum balance is typically just the fall session. So you just have to pay for the fall by August. And then in December, you need to pay for the winter session. But again, summer, you're exempt as long as you're registered for both sessions prior.
And thank you, Michelle. Xiao Yue?
Yes. I have some questions related to the collaborative program. I mean, like, I'm a full new student in OEZ, so I'm not really clear about the collaborative program. What is the requirement for that? And can I just register for 2 half courses for the first semester, and then maybe if I'm still interested in a program, can I apply for it later on in a winter session or the summer session maybe?
Okay, I think Antoinette is.
Yeah. So every collaborative specialization has a slightly different process and different requirements. In some cases, you want to begin working towards meeting the requirements of your collaborative specialization immediately. Others allow you to knock at the door and say, hey, it's December and I think I might be interested, and they may consider you. But it's best if you know that, for example, you're interested in collaborative international and development education, that you request to be in that collaborative specialization, because there they require that you take a mandatory core course to learn about this. And it can be one of your courses that are part of your 10, but you want to plan that in. And they also require that you come to a certain number of presentations or workshops that are given throughout the year, and they do ask you to sign in so they can see if you've done that. And starting off at the beginning of your program allows you to begin working towards those requirements. If you wait till later, you can feel a little bit rushed. But as I said, each one is a bit different, so you do need to look at the fine print for each one. And I think we've provided a link to the page on our OISE website that links you to each of these exciting choices. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So I need to make some preparations for the later collaborative program, right?
You may not be able to join all of the collaborative specializations after you begin the program, because some you can only join right at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I overlooked a question by Jachi about the practicum. Thank you for the reminder, Malme. So you would like me to describe the practicum? Was that it?
Me?
I know something about the okay. So the practicum for the regular MEd students, there is not a practicum. For the LTF, language teaching field students, there is a practicum, which is an opportunity and requirement to experience teaching languages. And the language that the LTF student would choose to teach in would probably be their dominant language. If they're bilingual, then they have a choice of, or multilingual, a choice of more than one language. But those who do not have teaching experience, whose dominant language is, for example, Mandarin, would probably be doing their practicum teaching in Mandarin. Those whose dominant language is English would be doing, get a little bit of practice experience working with an associate teacher teaching English as an additional language. And those are the two most popular languages that we have right now. But if someone has a dominant language that's French or any other, we would find you a match to work with an associate teacher teaching that language. And it involves about 20 to 30 hours of working, if collaborating with someone who's already, a professional language teacher, by observing their classes, helping them with developing materials, and eventually teaching some hours on your own while being observed by the teacher who you're working with. There is an instructor for the Practicum course who was a faculty member from LLE, and that person would be overseeing your experience while you're doing this Practicum, and there would be some group meetings for the class when you do lesson planning and reflect on your learning experiences. But the primary task during taking the Practicum course is your actual match with the teacher teaching a language and observing them teaching a language. And the matches are made individually. So if you're particularly interested in working with adults, for example, then we try to find you a match teaching a class for adults. If you're really interested in working with children, we try to find you that kind of a match. We have some partnerships right now. We have a partnership with a program called Panda Language School, and so that's where many of our students do their practicum if they are wanting to teach in Mandarin. And then we have another partnership with the TDSB, the Toronto District School Board, where many of our students have an opportunity to teach in English. But again, each assignment, each match is made individually. I hope that gives you enough information for now, Jiaqi. And I just see that there's a message from Michelle. Some of us are happy to continue staying on for further questions. Yeah, time is up. But if you do have any other questions and you need to go, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us who are here today and or the other resources that were put on the slides with your further questions. And I once again, I'm just going to really encourage you to connect with your advisor. It's better to connect at the beginning, even if you don't have any questions, just drop them a line and say, I'm your advisee. It's nice to meet you. And I will be in touch with you when I have questions.
And I'd like to just add that there's some of you who have been very quiet during this session, and I want to reinforce, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And we have in our classes a wonderful diversity of students, whereby some folks are local and grown up in Toronto, some have grown up in different parts of Canada, but we also have people from all around the world who join us for the Masters in Education program. So you won't be alone if you're a Torontonian, but if you, and also if you're coming from somewhere else, you'll also find lots of community. And we have, as you learned earlier, lots of opportunities for interacting. So thank you again. And please feel free if you need to leave, you can do so. But I see one more thing happened in the chat, and that is,
please review the registration checklist that can be found in the student handbook. The checklist will get you ready and prepared for fall. Thank you for that, Wendy.
and let's look at where that checklist is on page 19, registration checklist. Fantastic. I know it's very tiny, but when you have it open, you'll be able to see it better. Excellent suggestion. So there's quite a number of steps. It is obviously very useful to have this checklist as a reminder. Did you want to add anything, Wendy, before we sign off?
No. I think this is a great session, and then I think this session has given the students a lot of overview and insights to the program. And then I'm just really excited to see hopefully all of you in person or through chats or through emails. Yeah, looking forward to that.
So some people are still having difficulty finding the handbook. I believe Michelle is going to follow up by resending it to you. And if you don't receive it, could you please, is it okay, Michelle, if I send you an email she did already send it out to everyone whose email addresses she has, but if you have any difficulty, don't receive it, please connect with Michelle and she'll send it to you personally.
And as mentioned, once we're able to finalize all of the new contact information for our newest members, we will be posting it on the Curriculum Teaching and Learning website for current students. So if you lose your own copy, it's a great place to go back to. There's links to all the policies and it has lots of answers to different questions. All right, so let's see, anything more that's been added to the chat? Okay, there's Michelle's email address in the chat.
There's also a question from a student who says, I have not registered on Acorn and got the university email. What should I do? That is not
a Michelle question.
Yes, so there is a page right after the registration checklist that talks about obtaining your UTOR ID and your U of T email address. So you do need to set up a virtual appointment with the T-Card office to access your UTOR ID. And this is your ticket to all of the platforms at U of T actually. So if you want to apply for graduate assistantships, to enroll in courses, you do need this UTOR ID activated soon.
Thank you, Michelle. That's super helpful. And don't worry, you will be getting this incredibly useful handbook shortly if it didn't arrive in your inbox yet.
Thank you everyone for coming today. And we really look forward to meeting you. I personally look forward to meeting you in person in the classroom in the fall. I'm so eager to get back in there, and don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.